fun today. We are starting our fantasy baseball drafts. This is fantasy mock draft 1.0. We're going to do several of these over the next week. What is it? The 20th is when it technically begins. Major League Baseball season technically begins because the series out in Seoul, Korea. We're doing both of those games, by the way. Let me go ahead and kill this. We're doing both of those games. 6:05 first pitch a.m. Eastern time. So get your coffee ready. We're going to bring them both to you. But then the real season, the actual opening day for everybody else, is going to be just over a week later on the 28th. And obviously, we're going to be bringing you all the action on that. But in the meantime, we're going to get you ready for fantasy baseball drafts. Have football on my mind because I had a guy asking me about fantasy football today. Kind of stopped me and asked me a ton of questions. And I think we've dragged another person into our world, y'all. We're gonna have yet another. It's an elite club, us fantasy players, right? But fantasy baseball is my preferred. I've been playing them both for over 30 years. But if you told me I can only play one the rest of my life, it's got to be fantasy baseball. So we're going to get you set for that. You see we're about to do a mock draft. We're going to do several of these mock drafts. We're also going to talk about strategy during these mock drafts. And these are going to be points leagues because we kind of scoured it. And what we looked at was that there's a lot of information out there for roto-style leagues, but there's not as many drafts for the points leagues, which have become increasingly more popular. So that's what we're going to focus on. Today, as this is going to be dropping on March 13th, we are doing an 8-man draft. Now, you're going to be able to get all this access if you are a Braves Country Club member. You're going to be able to sign up for that. If you have a Google Android device, you can just go on your phone or whatever device and click join. But if you are on a device that is not Google Android, because there's rights conflicts between the two, you have to go to your desktop version. All you got to do is click join. After that, you got it made in the shade. You'll still be able to access everything from, if you have an Apple iPhone, you're going to be able to access everything. It's just the signing up you have to do from a desktop version. And there's nothing we can do about that. But the one thing I will tell you this is that the first month is free. So you get in there and you get some good fantasy stuff that we've got going on. You'll see other videos are going to be dropping. Some may be your cup of tea, some may not. But I'm getting more and more back involved in my writing, and I'll be doing some stuff that I did years ago that I never really put out there for anyone to see, and I've reworked some of them and came back in. It's basically poems built around the sports world, sports poetry, for lack of a better term, because there's really not a genre for that. It's just something that enticed me because I like writing. I think I'm pretty decent at it, and I noticed that there was not really a lot of poetry out there except for Casey at the Bat and a couple others that have poems for the sports fan. So you'll be able to see those videos. You'll already see there's already a couple out there. Line Up for Braves Country and Where Singles Go to Die. That is for the second one. The first one's self-explanatory, but the second one is for Andrew Jones. But I'm going to be doing them for more than just Braves players, but I'm getting them started this year with the Braves. Okay. We are going to start a mock draft. This is going to be a fairly quick one today. We're going to start off with an 18. This will probably be the only 18 one we do. We may do one more, but we're typically going to do 10, 12, 14. But I wanted to get our whistles wet at the beginning with an 18. Let me go ahead and change the screen so that you can see this much better. If you're listening to us on WQEE 99.1 FM, remember all you got to do is go to youtube.com/@BravesCountry. You can sign up and join. You can see all these videos ahead of time. If you don't sign up and you want to wait till later, then you are going to end up with getting these videos, but we're going to drop them like a day or two before the season, so not really enough time to digest it. Sorry we're late to the party, but after we talked about it for a while, we realized that there really was a value to having a membership. At first I was against it until I found out that you could give extra perks, but we could still have the games available for folks not in the membership club. Okay, let's go ahead and change the screen so you can see this much better, because you don't really need to see my ugly mug. What you want to see is, what are we drafting? Where are we at? Let's get it. So I'm doing this from a separate screen, so let me scroll over here. And you'll see real quick, it's a snake draft. They've put me at the 8th. I'm going to take myself down to the 7th, because I'm actually in a league that I'm going to be in the 7th. And it is an 8-man league. It's a smaller league because it's a high-dollar league. So we're going to play that game tonight. And we might do 2 of these, because I'd kind of like to see if I go one way with strategy, how it lands, if I go a different way, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, here we go. So you'll see on your screen that this is, expert rankings, except, I'm going to put it on Yahoo. Actually, I probably shouldn't put it on Yahoo, because we're not drafting on you. Well, it doesn't matter. Let me see here. All right. I'm needing to sign in to do all that, so we don't have time to do that. I'm going to do it off the composite ranking, so that's fine. I'm not going to worry about a pick clock, because this is a mock draft, and I'll be the only one doing it, so it'll be fine. All right, here we go. Here is the draft. We're going to go ahead and start it. No further ado, and we'll go ahead and get into this. So, those of y'all listening along, go ahead and read off to you what has been picked so far. So what we have so far is, see, if I expand this, you can still see it pretty good. Okay. That's what I was concerned about, is if I move the screen around, and all right, you're still going to be able to see. I want to be able to move it just a little bit, but I don't think I need. I think that's a pretty good. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, first player off the board, and we go back and forth to, let me see here. Where are the players that have already been picked? All right, here we go. So round 1, it comes to me, and this is how the draft has gone so far. So guys that are the best players available, we'll just do that. It'd be easier to tell you that, because right now, Ronald Acuna Jr., I'll do the first couple runs of who's been drafted, but after that, it's going to get a little monotonous to tell you everyone who's been drafted. We'll hit the big hitters. To start it off, Acuna went first. Bobby Witt Jr. went second. Julio Rodriguez went third. And Mookie Betts fourth. Corbin Carroll fifth. Kyle Tucker sixth. And so what we have left here, the best players available, you've got Fernando Tatis. You got Freddie Freeman. A lot of really good players still sitting there. And realize something, that Shohei Ohtani is much farther down the list, because he is only a batter at this point. Now, if this is a keeper league, you're obviously going to be looking at this much different. But I'm doing these today, these this year. We'll do more dynasty and that kind of stuff down the road. But right now, we're going to focus on just redraft leagues. Assuming that this is one and done, you're going to draft a team, and then you're going to get a new team the following year. So I'm looking at this, and I don't want to grab Freddie Freeman. It's not just because, being a Braves fan, not wanting to rock Freddie Freeman all year long. But I also look at the fact that Freddie Freeman is getting long in the tooth. He's 34 years old. And I don't want my number 1 pick to be 34 years old. I'd like to have a guy who's younger. Fernando Tatis is extremely, it's tempting. Now, he's an outfield. If he was still shortstop, there'd be no doubt about it, but he probably would have already been off the board. The other guys that you have there is you've got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Spencer Strider. In this scenario, I don't think I have to take a pitcher this early. I'm going to treat this like I'm treating it off the league that I'm going to be in tomorrow. Now tomorrow it's a pretty heavy Braves league, so this is how I'll draft this team, and then the next one I'm going to go a different route. So I'm going to do something that I normally would not do, just because I want to kind of rock the boat and see what they would do because of the injury unknown that we're going into on today about Garrett Cole. Realize if you're watching this down the road and we get information about Garrett Cole, it's kind of a moot point, but we don't know what Garrett Cole is going to be. So I'm going to grab Spencer Strider off the board, and it's going to go back around, and the next couple of picks heading into me is, so I took Spencer Strider, and the next couple of picks that went were, looks like it was Garrett Cole and then Shohei Ohtani. So Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani is where we're at right now. So I've got my pitcher. There's no way I'm going back-to-back pitchers. I typically don't even draft pitchers early on. I just wanted to see what would happen if you grabbed Strider. And I would have grabbed Cole, but I don't know his availability at this point, so I'm not drafting an injured player early on. So what it really comes down to is, once again, all these guys are still here. Tatis, Freddie, Soto, Judge. The fact that Juan Soto is going to be where he is, and remember, he's going extremely high because he's in New York and everyone's digging the ability for him to play in that short porch in New York, and I get it. But, man, Aaron Judge, a healthy Aaron Judge in that offense, I can't turn him down. So I start off, and I've got Aaron Judge and I've got Spencer Strider. Now it's going to rattle off. I'm gonna tell you some of the bigger names as they went off the board, but we won't rattle them all off. So I take Aaron Judge. I have Spencer Strider. Guys like Tatis and Freeman go off, and obviously you're going to get Soto and Olsen. They're all gone. Alvarez, Ozzie Albies is off the board. Obviously we'll name the Braves players as well. Ellie De La Cruz is off the board. So it comes back to me, and I've got my outfield. So this is a traditional, I can't remember if we went over this or not, but this is a traditional catcher, first, second, short, third base, 3 outfielders, 1 DH. I set it up as 4 starting pitchers, 2 relievers, and 2 pitchers, anytime pitchers. But Honest Engine, the league that I'm going to be in, I didn't mirror it exactly. That's not how they have it set up. They have it set up where you're going to have, I believe it's a total of 5 starting pitchers and 1 pitcher on your bench with 2 relievers all day. It's kind of a kooky rule system, but I decided to give it a go this year and join this league. So I'm going to go off of that mentality. If you catch what I'm pitching here, is that you're only going to be able to draft like 6 starting pitchers. You're not going to be able to stockpile them like I can in other leagues. And we'll do another one right after this doing it that way. But I just want to get you to understand where I'm at, because we're probably going to end this draft before we get to the end of this bench, because I'm trying to mirror what is going to be going down in that league, in the shallower leagues. And of course, the 8-man league, if I was the commissioner, I honestly believe that the rosters are not deep enough. But it is what it is. All right. So it comes back to me, and I've got to make a decision. Look, Corey Seager is a guy that I think in big moments does some of the greatest things you'll ever see on a baseball field. But in a regular season, he's a very good player, but he's not elite. And he's coming off of an injury. He's working back his way from an injury. I don't know when he's going to be available. So I'd much rather go ahead and load my team up. I would like to have in the first 4 rounds 3 really good hitters and an elite starting pitcher if I can. If it doesn't fall that way, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get back to who is available, you've got Alonso, you got Lindor. I just feel like that team is going to be selling at the deadline, and I don't believe there's going to be a great vibe with that team. So I'm staying away from Mets teams. That's how I draft. I don't draft guys on teams that I think might be, a toxic atmosphere, right? Now, you could go the route of getting a second elite starting pitcher, but I'd rather go out and get myself another really good hitter. So I'm going to go with, let me see, Marcus Semien is out there. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is out there. You've got some of the other guys that I mentioned. And if I wanted to go outfield, I would go Michael Harris. I just think it's a little early for Michael Harris, and you can get much better value if you go ahead and pluck one of these other dudes. And because it's not a guy that I would even think about keeping, I might be forced my hand. You know what? Let's try this theory. Let's go ahead and grab Corbin Burnes and see where he goes. I don't love going, but when you have elite pitchers fall in your lap like that, how do you not do this? So the next two guys that go off the picks are Wheeler and Castillo. So obviously I started a trend starting pitchers are going off the board. Now I've got to pivot and get my batters. I really don't like going after the guys that I'm thinking about picking, because right now it's either Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who has shown, look, the talent is there. My concern is he goes in these incredible slumps. What version of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are we going to get this year? The other thing would be if I go Pete Alonso, and I really don't want to have to go that route, but man, the guy did hit 46 home runs last year. And he's fallen in your lap, and I hate having him on a team as one of my early hitters. But you know what? I'm going to go against everything that I believe in this one, and I'm going to grab Pete Alonso. I hate it. I don't love this theory, but I also don't believe that you can continue to ignore the top players that are available. I probably would end up, if I wasn't playing it smart, I'd probably take a low value pick if it was a keeper league and think about Michael Harris right there. But this is a one and done league, so it's a little different belief system with me. In keeper leagues, I'm always, and look, your friends will tell you, I'm always more likely to grab players that I really like, because I look at it this way: if I'm going to have a keeper league, a dynasty league, I got to watch these guys play year after year after year. I don't want a bunch of guys that I hate. It makes zero sense. So we come back around, 7th pick in the 5th round, taking a look at what I have right now. I've got Alonso and Judge. I've got Strider and Corbin Burnes. It's a really good start to a team, but like I said, normally I like to go 3, sometimes even 4 hitters in the first 4 even or 5 picks. But because I got my 2 starters, I really have to get away from the hitters. And so I'm going to go this route, and I'm going to look and see who is available at the rankings of players in positions that I need. Bo Bichette is sitting there at shortstop. You've got, see, top of the second base chain, Nico Horner. I can wait on that guy. Shortstop, once again, it's Bo Bichette, and Manny Machado is sitting there at third base. There's a couple of other players there that are little bit on the on a reach side. I don't love anything that's still available in the. Basically, what you have here is you've got Manny Machado, you got Goldschmidt, but I've already got my first baseman. So if I grab Goldschmidt, we know he's my DH. And I hate having 2 first basemen because it really limits you with your designated hitter and what you're going to do with your bench. Manny Machado, third baseman. And something else, too, I believe Paul Goldschmidt is actually losing a step. So, he's 36 years old. You saw a lot of indications that he's losing what he should be. But sitting at where we're at on this ADP and what is available, I'm going to go ahead and see. Top ranked players. Bo Bichette, once again. I guess I'll go ahead and take Bo Bichette. I'm a little concerned with what that Toronto team is going to look like this year. But I'm going to take Bo Bichette and get my shortstop. It's going to bounce right back to me because we're on that turn where I'm facing the eighth. The guy who's drafting eighth goes back-to-back. So he took Rushman and Lopez. It goes back to me. Randy Arozarena is sitting there. It's extremely tempting. I figured he would be there, so that's why I kind of ignored it. We also have, looking at my team, I'm sitting here. I still need middle infield, and I need outfield. I still think I can stay away from starting pitching for a little bit. Glasnow's sitting there, but you know what worries me about Glasnow is he's the top-ranked pitcher that's sitting out there. His durability factor is a real thing. So I'm going to roll the dice. I've got a guy in mind that I want for a pitcher on the next turn, but I'm going to roll the dice. He may not be there, but we're going to see what happens. In fact, I'll go ahead and tell you, since we're going against the computer, I'm going to see if Tariq Schoolball will be there, and if not, I'll pivot. It's not going to be a deal breaker. I like Schoolball's upside this year, but it's not worth reaching for. It really isn't. So Manny Machado is still there, but remember he's injured and could be limited to DH while dealing with elbow surgery. But at the same token, he is Manny Machado. There's a couple other folks that I like at third base just as much. I'm going to pass on that. On second base, you got McClain still available. Of course, he's injured. We all know that. He's going to be sidelined for about a week with an oblique injury. That can sometimes linger. You've got, at the catcher position, JT Realmuto. He has definitely lost a step. And at this point, catchers, to me, it's a much deeper crop than it has been. I'm going to punt on the catcher. So I'm looking at this right now, and you could start sitting here in the 6th round, which you could begin is the closer run. But I don't like doing that either. So I'm going to go back to best available hitter. Manny Machado keeps staring me right in the face. It's hard not to take Manny Machado. So I'm going to go ahead and take him. I hate grabbing a guy who's injured like that, but we're going to see where this thing falls to me as we come back to the starting pitcher. And he is gone. I thought he might be gone, Schoolball, but you look who's sitting here for me, sitting pretty. I know the experts, if you're reading the screen, is going to try to tell you Freddie Peralta. You look at Freddie Peralta's big deep numbers, he is an absolute feast or famine. He's feast or famine. I'm not going with the feast or famine when he's going to be my number 3 guy in what is going to be a 6-man rotation in this league. So I've got to have a guy that's going to go to the bump. I want a guy who's on a walk year. Max Fried's going to go test the free agent market. Give me Max Fried for one last year. He very well could end up a New York Met, and I never want him on my team again, so let's get him one last year. All right, it bounces back to me. Let's see what the best players available are. Can you believe this? What world are we living in? Mike Trout is sitting there, and I feel like I have to grab him. I'm just a Mike Trout fan. It's sad to see his entire career be wasted the way it has been. But has it been? Because the man's going to be making, what, $450 after this. And when it's all said and done, he's going to probably with contracts and everything else aside, Mike Trout's going to probably leave the game worth $1 billion. I think Mike Trout will be fine. I don't know if it's been a disaster or a waste. All right. Guys that are still available, and I also need to look at my roster. So I still need a second baseman. I need outfielders or outfielder. I need a utility. Best second baseman available. I can really wait at this point. You know, you're looking at a lot of guys that look. I don't think Kim is a guy that I want to reach for. Gleyber Torres, he's enticing, but I don't think I want to reach for him at that spot. So they're going to try to push a pitcher on me here in this spot. I don't like that. I'm pretty set at pitcher at this point in the draft. You've got outfield position that is still available, and Brian Reynolds is sitting there. 29 years old. He's going to hit all the categories. I don't like being this long in the tooth in the outfield. I've already got Judge and I've got Mike Trout, but I'm going to take my risk on Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds is solid. He's never going to be the reason why you win your championship league, but he can be a reason why, or a piece of it. And so I'm going to go ahead and stick with him. It comes back to me. Once again, this is a league where starting pitcher is a little bit of a premium. Just because there's going to be very few pickups made and you don't want to be. So to explain the rules to this league that I'm going to be in, you could only make one move for a starting pitcher all week long. So there's not a lot of streaming, because if you stream, what you're essentially doing is killing the depth of your starting pitching. I could see that being a strategy when you get closer to the playoffs. But starting out, I'm going to try to ride with who I've got. So the guys that are available right now with that theory, I like Gray Rod, man. Give me some Grayson Rodriguez. I think he's going to be a hell of a. I'll tell you something else. You got Corbin Burns. You got Grayson Rodriguez. You got a 1-2 punch in Baltimore. I've got the 1-2 punch in Atlanta. And so there's a good chance that on a regular basis, I can have 2 start pitchers. It's been a while since I've been in a league like this, but that's one of the things that I do remember is that you're always looking for those 2 start pitchers when you are limited with your pickups. And that is about as limited as it gets, right? All right, going back to my team, showing who I've got. I still need a second baseman. I still need a catcher, and I need a DH. This best second baseman available, it's still Gleyber Torres, but I don't feel like I need to rush for that. If for some reason someone grabs him, there's still Bryson Stott, who I like quite a bit. As far as catcher goes, you got William Contreras. I know a lot of people are big on him, and I was a big fan of his when he was around. But William Contreras could see a dip in his numbers, and I don't think I have to rush on drafting him anyways. If I want him, I think I'll be able to get him. Yanner Diaz is out there. Sean Murphy's out there. Wilson Contreras out there. These are all guys that are once you get past William Contreras, they're all going to be in the same little projection category. As far as relievers, I'm realistically going to need a closer. In this league, they have a setup, I believe, for 2. Now, this is set up a little different. In the Yahoo or CBS league that we're going to be in, I got to double check it, but if he's available, I'm going to grab Ronaldo Lopez, because I think he'll start out in the Braves starting rotation, but he's going to be available to do both, and eventually I can put him in relief. And if it ends up not working out and he's not getting me enough points, I'll eventually drop him, but I can start him in the Braves rotation, because it looks more and more like he's going to be the number 5 guy. Now, he had a little bit of a rough outing in his last time out, but that's not going to scare me. As far as the closers that are out there, I'm not. I still think I can wait one more run. So I've got my 4 starting pitchers, and in this league, I'll only need 2 more. I like Cole Reagans a lot. I watched him pitch quite a bit when he came up last year, and he's a strikeout machine. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Cole Reagans. It's going to pop back to me very quickly. There's old Dylan Cease sitting out there, everybody's favorite son that wanted to come to Atlanta. I'm not a Dylan Cease fan. I saw him fall apart last year, and I'm worried that he's not going to be able to bounce back on that. Now, look, he may bounce back and give you phenomenal value, but I'm not willing to take that chance. I would rather take Tanner Bybee, but I'm going to punt the pitching position on this round. Still going back and looking at second baseman. He has sat there and sat there and sat there. And looking at what's available, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab me some Gleyber Torres. So grab Gleyber Torres. I mean, I grabbed Gleyber Torres in the 12th round, 8-man draft or 8-man league. It's pretty darn good value at that point. I still need a catcher. I still need a DH. I'm going to look and see who the best DH is available. Teoscar Hernandez is very, very tempting going over to the Dodgers if y'all missed that. I'm a big Anthony Santander fan. I don't know why. I like the kid's swing. But I'm going to go homer pick just because this is something I probably wouldn't do in tomorrow night's draft. I'm going to go ahead and just grab Marcell Ozuna. What the hell? Why not? He's going to be able to play outfield this year because, first of all, if you remember, he did play outfield a couple of times last year, so that's going to give him the eligibility. But depending on how your league is set up, they are expecting him to do some platoon spots in left field this year. So that gets back to me on my roster. I still need a catcher, and then after that, I'm going to cut it off at 3 bench players on my hitters because I'm not going to do this entire bench, right? Because we're going to turn around and do a really quick 8-man one again where we go with a different strategy. So let me go ahead and clean this up pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and grab Teoscar Hernandez as one of my bench guys. It's going to roll to me, and now we are heading into the bottom of the 15th round, and some of the guys that are still available. Now, realizing in my pitching staff, I've got, and Cole Reagans, by the way, on this is available as a reliever. So that's a bonus. And if I open that up tomorrow and see that is going to be a huge bonus in that league because of the rules that I just laid out to you. But let's go ahead and look at a true reliever. Now, these are not categories, these are points. So I don't care how I get my points. And the relievers that are still around, I don't think I have to really worry about it. I'm going to keep going. Let me grab some Chris Sale. It's a big, big risk, but I'm going to go ahead and add him to my bench. And then what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the best pitchers available, starting pitchers that may. I'll tell you something. I'm going to change my tune. I'm going to grab an extra bench piece. Give me Tristan Casas to add to my roster. I think Tristan Casas is going to have a very good year in Boston. I think he's got a great value. And if he's going to sink that low on a bench piece for me to be able to pull up, because in this league, you're essentially going to have, the way it's laid out, like 3 or 4 batters sitting on your bench that you're going to be able to move up and down, in and out every day. Because the name of this game is having a great, solid pitching staff, but then being able to have enough flexibility day in and day out to be able to, off days and whatnot, to put other guys in that can get you points. So I will be looking for that essential guy that can do it all. But, a guy that can play 3-4 positions is going to be a huge bonus. It just is. But with that being said, looking at their rankings compared to all the other rankings, it gets a little different as far as who I would have as that last bench piece. So who I'm telling you I'm going to pitch pick today may not be the same, because if they pop up on CBS and they're only available in 2 categories. I've got Yahoo drafts. If they're only available in 2, but I've got an ESPN draft. I'm looking for that last bench piece to be able to play multiple positions, because I'm going to slide him in and out of the lineup constantly. In a perfect world, what I love to do is have multiple guys that can do that. So you can constantly slide them up and down. But don't go crazy and cut your nose off to spite your face, because you're going to end up doing something goofy, like worrying about having all these different players you can move up and down, but you're not getting the points or the categories that you need. You know, Jordan Montgomery is sitting there. The problem with Jordan Montgomery is he doesn't have a home as of right now, and the last thing I want to do is have Jordan Montgomery sitting on my roster and that guy doesn't start pitching till May. Because you're not going to be able to put him in any kind of a slot for an injured list. He's not going to be, I guess in some leagues he may be NA, but you're probably going to be screwed. You're probably going to have him sitting there on the bench like a guy riding out a suspension. So let's go to the catchers. Cal Raleigh is still there. Sean Murphy's still there. I'm not going to grab Murphy. We know he does too much of a platoon. Francisco Alvarez is still there, sitting there. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Cal Raleigh. Look, 27 home runs, 75 RBIs being projected. I'll take that out of my catcher. And if it doesn't work out, there's always going to be someone. This is a pretty deep catcher class. We have not had that in recent memory. I would love to wait and just grab Francisco Alvarez, because the guy's hitting ability is off the charts. But he has struggled to stay consistent, and I worry about him losing at bats across the board. And we don't know how they're going to treat him with the new skipper in town. So that's the other thing that falls out. So I've got my starting lineup. I've got 2 bench pieces. I've got an extra starting pitcher. I still don't have a true closer, and that never bothers me. If I can't find a true closer, I'll roll with it. But I'm going to go ahead and, against my better judgment, give me Adbert Alzolay from the Chicago Cubs. This is probably a position, because I waited so long, that I'll be looking for the next hot hand going forward. If I was in this league, if this was a true draft, my goal at that point would be, we're going to wait the first few weeks. We're going to find a closer that's on the rise, and I don't have a problem with that issue, with that strategy. The next guy that would be up on the list, and right now he's looking like he's going to be the closer, because they really haven't done anything to bring him any kind of real. I mean, how is Jose Alvarado not the closer in Philadelphia? How is he not? What about Jose Leclerc in Texas? His ADP has dropped quite a bit, but you can either go there, or I can go one more starting pitcher and then come back, and I think that might be the way to go. I'll tell you what I don't like is I don't like Jose Barrios at this spot. I just think he's a little bit of a I have more faith that Yu Darvish gives me a solid season, or a Hunter Brown or Gavin Williams, even though Gavin Williams is injured. It's not expected to be serious, but he is injured. I did see that Hunter Brown is working on some stuff. If I'm not in love with any of those players, I may just go out here and get myself a designated hitter. The best one on the board right now available, I think I'm going to go. It's either Masataka Yoshida or Jorge Soler at this point. Soler's going to give me more power, more pop in a points league. That's what I'm looking for. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little concerned drafting him because he's in San Francisco now, and that is a much more difficult park for a right-handed hitter to hit power in. But Jorge Soler is going to be in the middle of that lineup, probably playing 140, 150 games this year. He's probably going to be their primary DH. And when he's not doing that, he's going to be out in left field How do you turn that down? Go back to the starting pitchers. And though they say, if you're looking at all the stuff here and they're saying, well, it's a reach, I'm going to grab Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish, first of all, he's going to give me an advantage if the season's starting right now because he is expected to pitch in one of those first 2 games in Seoul, Korea. So now it comes back to me, and I'm done with the hitters. I'll grab one more starter just for giggles. I've got Alzolay as a reliever. I've got Reagans as a reliever. If there was a reliever that really jumped out at me, I could do it. I could talk myself into adding a Leclerc. His job security is up in the air. It's either that or grab Erod. I've got more faith in Erod for season long. Give me Erod, and I'll figure out if I need an extra reliever, I'll do it. So we're going to go ahead and end this draft real quick, and we're going to start a new one very quickly. Let's go ahead and reset. All right. Started it over. I went in and took the 7th pick again. This time I made it mirror a little closer to what our the draft that I'm doing tomorrow night. I made it mirror a little closer to what we're doing. So you'll notice in the rosters that, first of all, it's a much shorter bench, and I've got starting pitchers and 2 relievers, 5 starting pitchers, 2 relievers. And so we're going to take this draft to the end, but we're going to make this real quick because I don't want to keep y'all here all day long. So here we go. I got the number 7 pick, best player available. I can't believe Corbin Carroll fell this far. Now, this is a little odd to me. One of the reasons is because Strider went number 4. You saw I picked him number 7 overall. I typically wouldn't do that. I just wanted to see where it went. So here we go. Give me Corbin Carroll all day long. If Corbin Carroll falls to me tomorrow night at the number 7 pick, I will be doing backflips. Goes back to me. So you got Tucker, you got Ohtani, you got Freddie, and you got Soto. I don't understand why Ohtani is falling as far as he is. I understand that he no longer is pitching this year. But my God, he still hit 40 home runs last year, had 20 stolen bases, and we're acting like he's chopped liver. The only reason why I'm grabbing Carroll before I grab Ohtani is because I didn't think Carroll would make it back to me. But honest engine, head to head, who am I picking between those two? You say, oh, you can only have one. It's Shohei Ohtani. In LA, in that lineup, they can't pitch around him. All right, comes back to me. So I've got 2 elite hitters. It's going to come back to me. I'm going to go hitter patrol this time. This time I'm going to ignore the starting pitching a little bit because I want to see where that takes me. You see Austin Riley there, and you see Ozzie Albies. The difference between Ozzie and Riley is much more difficult to get that kind of production at second base. Give me Ozzie all day long. It falls to me. I can't believe this. Austin Riley is still there. Now, a couple of guys that you could pick over Austin Riley, so I do want to be fair with this, is that you could end up with some of the better players that are still out there. You could still end up with, let me take a look here. You got Pete Alonso, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you've got Francisco Lindor, you've got Austin Riley, Rafael Devers, Michael Harris, Adolis Garcia, Trout. Just because, you know what, looking at my roster, I've got second, I've got outfield, I've got my DH. The one thing that you don't like about Ohtani is that he's only going to be able to DH. He's not going to be able to play outfield. So you do hate that, but you're okay with him being your DH. I'm going to go ahead and take Austin Riley. Let's see where it falls to me now. I just saw Harris went off the board, which we expected that. So now I've got, looking at my team, I've got 4 hitters. I don't have a starting pitcher yet. So where do I go? Do I grab a starting pitcher? By the way, Kevin Gausman, dealing with shoulder fatigue, if he wasn't injured, he would be the very first person I would think about grabbing. But the hitters are still out there. There's a lot of solid hitters, but the starting pitchers are starting to get gobbled up. And I think I'm going to have to go with Luis Castillo, Seattle Mariners. It's a safe pick. It's going to pop back to me. And why not give me Yoshi Yamamoto of the Dodgers? So now I feel pretty good about my starting pitching. I've got 4 stud hitters, and I got my starting pitching rolling. Comes back to me again. I don't want to overcorrect and just go a bunch of starting pitchers because I ignored it for the first 4 rounds. So I want to continue to build my hitting. So I'm looking at shortstop. There's not a great value there. The third base is already taken up for me. Once again, Trout is there. It's so weird seeing Trout fall as far as he is nowadays. But he's, I mean, you're talking about between Josh Hader, Aaron Nola, and Mike Trout, who do I want? I think Mike Trout's going to go back and do Mike Trout things. He's still only 32 years old. I think a lot of the pressure is going to be off because there's no more Shohei Ohtani. And he's just going to go out and try to play baseball for the first time in a long time and not be caught up in the media circus because they're going to get overlooked. And also something else. Don't overlook the Ron Washington factor. He's fun to play for. Mike Trout might have a lot of fun this year. All right, comes back to me. Once again, I got my 2 starting pitchers. I could go for a third. Max Fried is there, and he's the best pitcher available, in my opinion. I know you got Aaron Nola there, but I'm sorry. There are times where Aaron Nola loses it. He just got paid. This could be a year where he loses it. I want a guy in a walk year if everything's even. And I do look at Aaron Nola and Max Fried very, very similar. Their games are a little different. Nola gets a few more strikeouts, but at the same token, Max Fried's bound to get more wins because he gives up less runs. All right, comes back to me. I still need a shortstop. I still need a first baseman. I still need an outfielder. Looking at my shortstop position, still nothing that is making me feel like I have to go out there and grab it. First base, you got Goldschmidt. I'm very concerned about his injury. If I draft Goldschmidt, I'm going to have to back that up with something else. And as far as the outfield is concerned, if I want to finish my last outfielder up, if I want to get some power in there, there's Kyle Schwarber. I think he'll fall, though. I really think that I can overlook him for a second. What I didn't do last time is I didn't go all in on a closer early on. I'm going to go ahead and right that wrong. Give me Emmanuel Clase, probably the best closer in baseball, and on a team that should have a fair amount of wins, and he should get a decent shot at getting around 40 saves this year. Closers don't get the saves that they used to get because they're very mindful of the work they're going to get. I still can't believe he keeps falling to me. And at some point, I can't just look a I can't keep ignoring it. Give me Aaron Nola. So if you remember, I punted on Aaron Nola 3 rounds ago. He still fell to me, and now here we sit. It comes back to me, and what do I need? I still need a first baseman. Paul Goldschmidt is still there. So I keep ignoring it. I'm going to go ahead and grab him. It'd be kind of stupid not to. Falls back to me now. And now what do I have? I'm looking at my roster. I've got 4 starting pitchers. I still need 2 more. I need 1 more reliever. As far as what's left out there, I do need an outfielder. And the outfielders that are sitting out there, folks are all in love with Christian Yelich. He's 32 years old, and he has lost it and gained it and lost it and regained it too many times for me to want to believe that he has figured it all out. So I think where I'm going to go with this, man, if he didn't fall off the ledge last year, I'd probably grab Christian Walker as a backup plan in case Goldschmidt didn't work out. But I like to have a little more depth in my pitching. Cole Reagans falls there again, and he can be in my relief. So I got Reagans as a starter right now, but you could slide him back and forth, starter and reliever. Comes back to me again. And now I'm looking at this. So I'm going to have 2 picks in the next 4. I still need a catcher. I need an outfielder. The outfielders that are available, they're starting to fall off a little bit. Castellanos is still sitting there, 32 years old. My concern with Castellanos and a few other guys is that they don't tend, him and Corey Seager and what, they tend to show up in big moments in the postseason. That's great, but that doesn't win you any fantasy championships. So I do worry about that. If I'm looking at a shortstop, and I have ignored the shortstop position, man, Xander Bogaerts is still sitting there. I can probably punt on him for another. By the way, Ha-Seong Kim, I'm not buying him this year. I think you have seen his ceiling, and if he's still there late in the draft, okay, fair enough. But I'm gonna take it at least 1 more pick. The great thing about Kim, he is available to play 3 different positions, so that is an advantage. And Bogaerts is sitting at shortstop right now, but remember, he is going to be second base eligible very early in the season. Joe Ryan is still sitting there. Are you kidding me? They're projecting him for 168 inning pitch, 186 strikeouts, an ERA below 4, a WHIP below 1.15. Dumb not to draft Joe Ryan, right? All right, let me go back to Oy vey. I hate doing this because I really think that he is a pick that I'm not necessarily going to fall in love with. Now, you know what? I'm not going to take him. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to look elsewhere. I'm going to look at my outfield. Seiya Suzuki, by the way, I think is going to have a pretty good season. George Springer is out there. Josh Lowe is out there. Castellanos is out there. These are all your top outfielders available. I do need to fill my outfield position. I need to fill my catcher position. I usually wait on catcher because they go so early on the very top ones. But I think there's a lot of value in getting a catcher later in the draft. That's just the way I've always believed it. I won't get a draft. Catchers get beat up throughout the season. I can't rely on the catcher to produce well in the playoffs. By the time you hit late August, early September, they are managing their days. So let me go with, you know what? I've been talking about them all off season. Give me Seiya Suzuki. I think it's a solid pick. And it'll come back down to me one more time, see where we're at. And I'm still needing a shortstop. Let's see who's actually available out there. Kim and Xander Bogaerts are still out there. Can you believe that? Everybody loves Kim. They're in love with Kim. I just think you've seen the best of Kim, and I can't buy into it. So do 1 or 2 things. I can grab myself another real reliever and Andres. You know what? Let's do it. Andres Munoz, Seattle Mariners, the new closer. Remember, Paul Sewald's going to be in Arizona this year. Munoz, Seattle, it's his job. Let's get it. So I've got my 2 real closers. I've got an extra reliever that can also start. And it comes back to me, and I still need a shortstop. I still need a catcher. The shortstop that's still sitting there is still Kim. He's getting slept on. Because because of his versatility, I'll go ahead and take Kim. We'll see where this takes me. It's going to come up and down. I would say my strategy. It paid off. Xander Bogaerts is still there. So I'm going to have both of them. And at one point, you're going to have Bogaerts and Kim available to play 5 different positions. And that's going to help out big time on your bench. So let me go ahead and grab Xander Bogaerts. And after Bogaerts, it comes back to me. And I'm still looking at, I need a catcher. And I need one more pitcher. And I'll draft an extra hitter after that. So let me go ahead and take care of the catcher right now. The catchers that are still around, I still think the highest upside from a talent-wise and getting to play on a regular basis, it's still much. I'm more willing to go Gabby Moreno from Arizona before I go Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, we know how Brian Sicker likes to do his catchers. They play about 3 or 4 times a week at the most, sometimes twice a week. I don't want that. We're going to find out what Francisco Alvarez has. He is considered a reach at this point, but so any of these catchers are. And I'm not buying Wilson Contreras. They're trying to tell us all this stuff. Oh, we've worked it out. We're going to do a video in the very near future about picks, bets, season-long bets, and there's a lot of stuff I've got to say about the St. Louis Cardinals. So my team is about set. I need one more hitter. I need one more starting pitcher. That's where I'm sitting at. The starting pitchers that are out there compared to the hitters that are out there. And the hitters, I really need someone who can play outfield. Now, looking at the best outfielders that are left, and none of them have any great. I'll tell you what. Santander, I've already told you I love Santander. He can play first. He can play outfield. And with my concerns with Paul Goldschmidt, I think it absolutely makes sense to grab Santander. And then I'm going to grab my last starting pitcher, best one available, Jordan Montgomery. Oh, my God, bless America. I'll tell you what I would do. So you got Jordan Montgomery, Carlos Rodon, Jose Barrios, and Walker Buehler. Those are the 4 being shown. And I've gone into these videos saying to myself, I'm going to draft off what you can see. So I don't want to do a deep dive where you can't see it on the screen. So I got to draft one of them, right? I'm going to draft Walker Buehler. He's going to start out on the IL. That's fine. I'll go pick someone else up, and when he's ready to roll, I'll have an elite pitcher. So there you go. I don't go a lot by this, but you do see on the screen that my team is looked upon as an A+. Who gives a crap? All right. Take that for what you will. I hope y'all enjoyed this. We're going to do more of these. We're going to be dropping these very regularly heading up to the season. Tell a friend. Get them signed up for Braves Country Club today. Y'all have a great one. First month is free.